Come on in, everybody. It's time for the Southern Route. So, what's the Southern Route all about? Well, it's about Southern stuff. Southern people, Southern music, Southern food, Southern nights, Southern traditions, nostalgia, and so much more. Welcome back to the Southern Route. I'm your host, Shannon Courier, and I am excited to be back with you all tonight. It has been a couple of weeks since I have had any new content. I've had some things going on at home that had to be taken care of, and I have been unable to secure some interviews. And so you get me again tonight. I do have several people lined up, and I'm going to share some of those with you of things and people we can look forward to later in February. I have some interesting people to talk to and information to share. That's going to be fun, but we are getting those scheduled as we speak. I don't know about you, but man, 2023 has definitely started off with a bang. I mean, like, I should have watched the trailer before I bought the ticket for this year, right? It has been an interesting year already, and it's hard to believe January is almost over and it's going to be Valentine's, and then it's spring break, and then it's summer, and before you know it, it's Memorial Day and Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and the year's over. And here we are, only in the third week of January. But so it's been an interesting year so far. I am hoping that it will get better in the next month and that we'll have a nice, productive year. Um, but I'll tell you what, I woke up feeling just a little bit sassy today, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because of some issues that are going on in my life, and I am just not going to be taken down by any of the issues. We all have issues and stress, and everybody feels like there's, a lot going on in our lives, and there is. But it's always been said, if you sit around a fire and everybody throws their problems into the middle, you'd quickly take your own back when you see what everybody else is having to deal with. So, on top of feeling a little sassy today, I'm also feeling that I am too blessed to be stressed. So, I woke up this morning, started getting dressed, trying to decide what I was going to wear. And y'all, I work at home, so I don't have to get dressed up to go to work or anything, but I was like, what leggings am I going to wear today? And I think I feel like wearing a t-shirt today, which is unusual because I don't really wear short sleeve t-shirts that often. But I woke up this morning and decided to put on my favorite t-shirt that was gifted to me by a very dear friend named Jay. And Jay is an older gentleman, and I used to teach preschool Parents' Day out in Knoxville, Tennessee with his wife, Judy. We all went to church together, and Judy and I taught at our Parents' Day out program. We taught 2-year-olds together, and then I eventually moved up to 3-year-olds, and then over the paid childcare, and then over all of children's ministry. So I have done a lot in that arena, and that's what I was doing before I started working at St. Christopher Fund. For those of you that know, I'm the director of philanthropy over there. But Judy was such a special lady and such a special friend to me, and she's one of the kindest and sweetest people you would ever want to know. And she was a collector of teacups, and I have a couple of her teacups as well. But she made me want to be a better person every single day of the years that I worked with her. She was very kind and generous, and she did things for people like Jesus tells us to do. People, you don't go out and brag about what you do. And there are things that she did for people that her husband Jay didn't even know she had done till after she had passed away, and people started sharing stories. So she did want me to make me want to be a better person every day that I worked with her. But Judy passed away several years ago, and Jay asked me and another friend, Julie, actually, that I work with at St. Christopher Fund, if we would do her celebration of life service. and include the kids from the Parents Day Out program. And we were a little bit taken aback by that because we'd never done anything like this, mind you. But Julie and I did the service, and it was beautiful, and we wept and cried. The kids sang her favorite songs. We did an interpretive movement. We shared the love and forgiveness of Christ with everyone in the audience. And I believe Judy would be really, I believe Julie, whew, I believe Judy would have been really proud of us. So after Judy passed away, Jay started coming to Parents Day Out every morning to open the door. This was a volunteer position, but he would come every morning. He wanted to continue her connection to the children. So he started coming every morning to Parents Day Out, and he would open the door and greet the kids and their parents as they came to preschool. And literally everybody loved him. Everybody loved Grouchy Jay. That's just the way it was. So I say all of that because Jay was known for wearing t-shirts every day that had funny or interesting sayings on them. He probably has 100 shirts, and people find new ones to buy for him every year as gifts for his birthday or for Christmas. And just this month, his daughter bought him his newest shirt, and it says, "In my defense, I was left unsupervised." And that sounds exactly like Jay, because there's no telling what kind of trouble this man would get in if we didn't keep an eye on him, if his girls didn't keep an eye on him. And Jay now lives in an apartment in an assisted living facility, and he and I have remained close all these years. We don't talk as often as we used to, but he always texts me during football season and gives me a hard time because, of course, I'm an Alabama fan, Roll Tide, and he is a Tennessee fan. And so we have to do a little bit of trash talking back and forth. And I saw Jay, it's probably been a couple of years since I have seen Jay, since I've been back to Knoxville, but I did get to visit him. He was in the hospital the last time I was there, but we did get to go over there and spend some time with him and give him a hard time and show him some love and, tell him to quit giving the nurses such a hard time and just do what he was supposed to do so he could go back home to his apartment. But about 8 years ago, my family and I relocated from Knoxville, Tennessee, back to the area where I grew up here in Alabama. And so right before I left, Jay brought all of his shirts, and there were probably 50 at that time. He brought them to my office at our church. I was running the children's ministry by then. So he brings them all to my office and he lays them out across my desk. And he says, "I want you to take one of my shirts with you. I want you to pick your favorite." Okay, so 50 shirts. That's a lot of shirts and a lot of sayings to choose your favorite. But he wanted me to take one with me, and I was hoping that he would do that. I don't think I would have asked, "Hey, can I have one of your shirts?" because he loves all of them. But he did it on his own. So he wanted me to have one of his shirts, and he brought all 50 over, and we laid them out, and I looked through them, and I thought about it, and I looked through them again, and I thought about it. And I did choose a shirt to bring with me, and I don't wear it often because I don't want to wear it out because it's his. But today felt like the perfect day for many reasons to wear Jay's shirt. And so here's what it says. It says, "I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely." And don't you just love that? So when I picked this shirt out of all 50 shirts, right? I picked this shirt, and it's my color too. It's black and the writing's in white. So that fit me as well because I wear black literally all the time. I said, "This is the one I want." And he cracked up laughing. He said, "That is my favorite shirt." And I said, "Well, I won't take it because it's your favorite shirt. I'll choose another one." And he said, "No, you take that one. If that's the one you want, you take it." He did end up having another one made because it literally was his favorite saying. But I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. And don't you just love it? Don't you feel that way on so many days? I mean, seriously, I am rarely wrong. I have to say I'm rarely wrong because I don't do a lot of trash talking and because I don't spew my opinions a whole lot about what is fact and what is not and that kind of thing. So when I do, I'm usually speaking because pretty much know that I'm right. Now, I can admit when I'm wrong, of course, but I'm usually not. Okay, I'm usually not. So, so if you don't know me quite yet, I'm Shannon. I'm a Southern woman. I'm opinionated. I'm rarely wrong. I love meeting new people. I love dancing and sharing stories. I love doing this podcast and getting to talk with people and share people with you all. And I appreciate you all tuning in. And just as a reminder, I may be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. Okay. Highly unlikely. So we'll be right back. We'll continue the conversation after this break here on tncradio.live.
It's Landline Now, followed by Steve Summers' Overnight Drive every night on tncradio.live starting at 11 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Central.
Building Strong Minds with Dr. Christopher Kortman every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. As a professional driver, you are always being told about the importance of physical fitness, your health. But what about mental fitness? On the show each week, we take on a new topic, from loneliness to the power of gratitude to how to build strong relationships, all from the perspective of a driver's life. Every Monday on TNC Radio Live at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's Building Strong Minds.
Catch Landline Now every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, along with an encore presentation weekdays at noon, right here on tncradio.live.
Ready for the power of positive and something that will put you back to a time you wanted to last forever? Music is the ultimate time machine. What was your favorite time? Do you want to go back there? LTD Radio features the songs of the 70s, 80s, and 90s that will transport you to a happier time. It'll make you smile and brighten your day. We could all use that about now. TNCRadio.live is proud to carry the great music of LTD Radio.
Join Tom Kelly and the rest of the team each day on the Morning Grind. Then stay tuned for an encore presentation of last night's Landline Now. Weekdays on tncradio.live.
Welcome back to tncradio.live. I'm your host, Shannon Currier, and this is the Southern Route. And I was looking back on 2022 and the opportunity I was given by the TNC Radio family to do this show. And I'm so thankful for the faith that Tom and the rest of the team put in me to learn something new and to try something new and see how it went and give me an opportunity. And I want to thank you all for listening so far. And I was looking back over the 17 episodes that are out to date. And I'm also thankful for the people that have shared their time with me so far. It takes time to be a part of this show, to do this show. And I appreciate people sharing some of their time out of the day when we are all so busy. And so if you haven't had an opportunity to listen to all 17 episodes, I would certainly be honored if you shared some of your hours with me this year by catching up on some of the episodes that you may have missed, and maybe marking your calendar each week to listen in on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. on tncradio.live, or just a reminder to maybe catch up on the show as it's put out on Sundays as a podcast. We do the show at 6 p.m. on Tuesday nights. It goes from 6 to 7 Central Time, 7 to 8 Eastern Time. And then it is edited as a podcast, and that goes out on Sundays. So you can catch us if you don't miss it on the live time, you can catch it on Sundays as well. So If you haven't listened to them all, I would love for you to give me a shot and listen to those and catch up and to mark your calendar each week to listen in this year. And if you'll indulge me, I wanted to go and give some thank yous to my previous guests. And so on my debut episode last year, I was joined by Mandy Hayes from National Trucking Magazine. And we talked about Mandy's involvement with an organization called Women with a Purpose that works with young girls that are in not great home situations. We talked about her involvement with Miss USA Prime that she won. We talked about cornbread more than any two people probably need to talk about cornbread. We talked about growing up in the South and laughing ourselves silly talking about that, because if you don't know Mandy, she she was adopted, and if you to look at her, you would not think she's a Southern girl, but she sounds like a Southern girl, and she is a Southern girl. So I can't think of a better way to have kicked off this adventure here on the Southern Route than with my friend Mandy. And I'm sharing a recap of these episodes in case there's one that might interest you if you aren't familiar with the episodes or haven't been staying caught up on them each week. There might be one that jumps out to you that you want to start with and listen to first. So the next episode after that was with Bill and Carol Ann Weaver. Bill is a truck driver and business owner and singer and guitar player and songwriter. And Bill and Carol Ann are like the first couple of the trucking industry. They are beloved in the industry, and they're the sweetest couple, and they sing together and work together and play together and laugh together, and we had a great time talking with them. Then I was joined by my friend Wade Jones. He is the king of the rednecks and winner of season 2 of Redneck Island. If you need a good laugh, I'll just tell you, this one is a 2-parter and you do not want to miss out on it. He talks about the show Redneck Island, the behind the scenes information about what happened there, and it is absolutely hilarious. And Wade lives down here not far from me in a little town called Eclectic, and he is just a good old redneck country boy who likes to go swimming in the pond after a hard day's work. So it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate Wade joining me. It was a long talk, so we got to share that for 2 episodes. I have been joined by my best friend Susan. We did some taste testing of some really gross ice creams. Like one of those was mac and cheese ice cream, okay? And let me just tell you, we gagged right on the air. It was so funny. We talked about growing up in the South and being best friends and all that good girl stuff that's fun to talk about. We have talked about, I've talked about what I do at St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund as the Director of Philanthropy and what that is all about. And that organization, as well as some other charity organizations too. But St. Christopher Fund is a nonprofit that works directly with over-the-road and regional truck drivers when an injury or an illness takes the driver off the road, causing financial difficulty. So we can step in and help drivers. There is an application process, of course, but drivers can get financial assistance paid directly to the bill holders, not directly to the driver. So we've talked about that, and I'm sure we'll talk about that again at some point as well. But we also talked about some other charities. We talked about Truckers Final Mile. We've talked about Truckers Christmas Group. We've talked about TIER. So not a whole lot of organizations in the industry, but some good ones. We also talked about Truck Driver Appreciation Week, which falls in the month of September. So that one is out there. I have talked about my love of country dancing and country music. And I talked to my friend and owner of our local establishment here, Alabama's Little Bit of Texas, and his time in the music industry. He did some touring back in the day and had a band, and his band still plays every weekend at Alabama's Little Bit of Texas here in Wetumpka, Alabama. And we talked about that establishment and how it came to be. And that's where I go every Thursday night to do a little line dancing with my line dance family. So that was a great talk as well. And I was also joined by Syracuse, New York native and musician Just Joe. His name is Joe Altier, but if you look for him online, he goes by Just Joe. And if you have not heard his stories or followed him on social media, go do it today. He has fantastic stories. He's got a fantastic voice. He is such a talented musician. He takes a song that we all know and love and can totally flip it on his head. He can make, the hardest rock song into a ballad. He can take a ballad and make it into a rock song. He can just really flip everything on its head and make a whole new song out of a classic. So if you love music, this is definitely one that you would want to jump over and listen to. And it'll tell you that it's Just Joe there. And of course, my beautiful friend and trucking industry icon, Ingrid Brown. If you don't know who Ingrid Brown is, you need to join her, Google her. We have talked friendship, love, loss, the trucking industry, so much more. That conversation. I've had her on with me twice, and you will probably hear from her again in 2023. We have so much fun together, and there's always just so many great things to talk about. And so that's just the first 17 episodes of the Southern Route. Now, where can you find these previous shows, you might be asking, because all of that sounds so very interesting. Lots of places. You can go to the tncradio.live website. You can also download the app, the TNC Radio app, if you want to do that and listen to it on your phone, or put it on your phone. That way you can Bluetooth it into your truck or your vehicle. You can also find the Southern Route on Spotify, Amazon Music, Podchaser, Audible. Just go Google the Southern Route podcast and you can find me on your favorite platform. Choose whatever platform works best for you. So I want to thank all of these people that have spent their time with me in 2022. I know we have a lot of things and people that vie for our attention each and every day. So I know they sacrifice something else to spend time with me and to spend time with you. And I know you all sacrifice something else to spend time with me and listening to me and listening to my guests. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate your ears. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your feedback. And I so look forward to getting some new content out there in 2023. There are some great stories to tell, some fun places to visit that I want to share with you all. And we've got several things lined up for 2023, and you'll be hearing those soon. So go give it a Google, the Southern Route Podcast, or just download the tncradio.live app. That would make it really easy as well. Click on the site menu, and you'll see podcasts listed there, and you can just scroll down and click on the Southern Route, and all 17 episodes will be right there, and you can click on whichever one you want to listen to. So thank you in advance. Thank you those who have already listened. Thank you for those that are willing to listen, and I look forward to growing with you all in 2023. We're going to hop out for a quick break, and we'll be back for the next session here on tncradio.live on the Southern Route.
Reverse Gears moved to Thursdays at 8, 7 Central on the Travel Network channel, tncradio.live. You're invited to ride through the stories of and music that made the memory makers we call the soundtrack of life at our new time, 8, 7 Central, Thursdays on tncradio.live.
Truckers Life Radio from TFC Global with your host, Ron Frazier, every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On the show, Ron interviews guests to help inform professional drivers just like you about the importance of things like human trafficking to sex addiction, to how to overcome the impossible odds on the way to success. Every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
As a professional driver, the engineers at Frontlane know that you remain focused on the road regardless of weather and traffic conditions. That's not always true of the drivers behind you. Every 9 minutes, another commercial vehicle is rear-ended by a driver failing to control their speed. And guess who gets the blame? When you have to brake quickly, Tailbone illuminates a series of bright red LED lights that allow the driver behind you to react up to 50% faster. Using amazing accelerometer technology and a battery that will last for years, Tailbone meets the standard set by the NHTSA and the FMCSA. Learn more by visiting www.frontlane.com/tailbone. That's www.frontlane.com/tailbone. Approved in all 50 states, it's Tailbone by Frontlane.
You're listening to TNCRadio.live. Remember to tune into the Truckers Network radio show with Shelley Johnson, weekdays at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern.
We are back here on the Southern Route. I'm your host, Shannon Courier, and we're here on TNCRadio.live. And I have one word for you in this segment: Wordle. The word is Wordle. Is anybody else obsessed with playing the New York Times Wordle every day? I did not even know this thing existed. My son introduced me to it, and I am hooked on this thing. Every day, my goal is to solve the Wordle in 3 guesses. Do you want me to tell you how I'm doing? Let me tell you how I'm doing, okay? So far, I have played 60 days. I've played for 60 days, 60 straight days. I've gotten the Wordle in 1 guess, 1 time. You know that's a fluke, right? 1 guess, 1 time. I've gotten it in 2 guesses, 7 times. I think that's pretty good. Remember, my goal is 3 every day. I've gotten it in 3 guesses, 16 times, 4 guesses, 17 times, 5 guesses, 12 times, and 6 guesses, 6 times. And let me just tell you, I get so mad when I have to go to 5 or 6 guesses, and I'm not overly thrilled when I have to use 4 guesses. The goal is 3. So I don't really have a specific strategy. I know there are strategy boards and strategy groups, and, you know, even famous people tell you what their strategy is, but I don't want to use the same word every single day. I just feel like that's just not creative enough for me. So I just start with whatever word I feel like starting with. I do try to start with a word that has 2 consonants and 3 vowels, but I don't always do that either. Sometimes it's regularly used letters and sometimes it's not. That's the thing. I do try to get as many of the vowels out of the way as possible, so it gives me a better opportunity to get it in 3 guesses. But I tell you what, I have to do it every day. I don't know if you have to do the Wordle, but I like it. And then on top of that, he's already got me addicted to that, right? So then he tried to get me to do this daily Nerdle. Have you heard of Nerdle? So there's Wordle and there's Nerdle. Now, these are not apps. This is through the Wordle is through the New York Times. So you have to Google New York Times Wordle and do it there. There is an app, but it's not the same thing. So there's also one called the Nerdle. So it's the same concept. You have to figure out a starting place, but it is with math problems instead of words. And let me just tell you, it is so much harder. So I did the Nerdle one day and I did get it. But that was way too much concentration for me, trying to figure out what problem to even start with. First of all, you have to make a problem that has a real answer. And then it tells you which of your numbers and which of your function signs are in the right place. If you don't know what Wordle is, it's a blank screen, right? It's a 5-letter word, but there's nothing on there. You have to just choose a word to start with. And then from there, you have to try to guess what the word of the day is from your first guess. you might get some letters that are correct, and it'll tell you by color if you have letters correct and if they're in the right spot. Or you may have a letter correct, but it's in the wrong spot. So that's going to be a different color. And let me just tell you, I have a friend who does this, and he is colorblind. And the normal colors that they use are like a green and a yellow and gray. Green means you have it, the right letter, and it's in the right place. Yellow means it's the right letter, but it's in the wrong place. And gray means that letter is not in there at all. If you are colorblind, there is a setting on the Wordle game where you can change it to other colors, where you can use an orange and another color that he is able to distinguish better. But I didn't realize that would be affected until he started playing it. So if you're colorblind, change your settings so you can do well at the Daily Wordle. But the Nerdle is the same thing. It's blank. You have to put a problem in there, and then you have to figure out what the problem of the day is. And so I did it one day. I did get it. Way too much concentration for me. I mean, I would need like a pencil and a paper to do those every day, because I can't think in a 5-step problem just by looking at a screen, right? So I'm not hooked on that one. Not hooked on Nerdle, but I am hooked on Wordle. But my son can do the Daily Nerdle in like 30 seconds or less. And I thought I had a math brain. When I was in school, in high school, I took math for electives. I had more math than I needed because I enjoyed math. But his brain's pretty amazing. That it just works with the Nerdle. But I guess that's why he is majoring in computer science and computer engineering, and that is why I did not. That is why I majored in, marketing and then early childhood education. So, and I would not have taught math, by the way. So I also play another game called Word Find. It's like a word jumble where there's letters, and you have to make like, so many 3-letter words, so many 4-letter words, 5, 6, 7-letter words out of the letters that they give you. And it gets harder as you level up, right? So now I'm to the point between the Wordle and this Word Find that I have trouble going to sleep at night because all these words are running through my head. I'm trying to think of new 5-letter words to start my Wordle the next morning. And 100 words are running through my head from this Word Find game, from, seeing all these letters and words and stuff. So I'm in bed and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep, but I've been playing Word Find and my brain's just going and going and going. If you're like me, I don't fall asleep quickly. It takes me 30 minutes or more to fall asleep on a good night. And now that I have these running through my head, I can hardly go to sleep. So then I have to hop over and play some solitaire just to get the words out of my head. And I'll play that until I'm like, about to fall asleep and I'm dozing, and I'll put my phone away, which my friend and coworker and health and wellness manager, Julie Dillon of SCF, would tell me that is a terrible way to try to fall asleep. I shouldn't be on my phone. And obviously she would be right, because I can't fall asleep quickly because my brain has too many tabs open. Do you play any games on your phone every day? I think a lot of us do, but I like to keep my brain sharp, and I know a lot of these games help do that. And so I think we all have so much on our minds these days. Our brains are on overload, and I have to make so many notes, and I have to put reminders in my phone so I don't forget things, just because there's so much going on in the world today and in life in general. And I feel like these games help keep my mental state sharp. And it's also a way to, decompress, and you don't really have to think about too much, while you're sitting on the couch after work. You can play the games, and it's fun. And sometimes I can't get my word, and I have to hand my phone to my husband, and I'm like, tell me what this word is, because my brain is full of other words because I've played the game for an hour. And but I enjoy the games. What kind of games do you play? What do you do in the evenings to kind of decompress? What do you do to keep your brain sharp and get ready for the next day? I enjoy these games. I think they are a lot of fun. But if you haven't checked it out, go Google the New York Times Wordle. Let me know if you decide to do it and how you do on it. You can email me at Shannon at TNC Radio. Oh, actually, I think it's the Southern Route. Let me look at my own email. Do I even know what my own email is? Because I don't email myself all that often. Um, isn't that crazy? But you could email me and let me know how you're doing on your Wordle if you decide to sign up for it. And let me know if you do the Nerdle, because that one is just it's just too much for me. I mean, I can't really do the Nerdle. But if you decide to do it, go do it, because it'll help your brain. And that's fun. And keeping a sharp brain is always good. So anyway, let me know how you do on that. And if you play solitaire, or if there are any other cool games that I need to add to my repertoire as I am keeping my brain sharp in the evenings. So we're going to hop out for our last break of the evening. We're going to come back in the next session and talk about what's coming up in 2023, as well as just remind you all of the other shows that we have here on tncradio.live. I'm Shannon, your host of the Southern Route, and we'll be right back.
Hey, rideshare drivers and gig economy workers, the host of TNC Radio.live, the Rideshare Rodeo Podcast, and the Gig Economy Podcast come together for news, talk, music, stories, laughs, and more. We're live Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, right here on TNC Radio.live.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Get with Ron Frazier for Truckers Life Radio at 9, 8 Central Mondays on tncradio.live.
For the latest in Houston traffic, weather, news, and information, don't miss The Evening Surge on tncradio.live.
Woo! It is our final 11 minutes of this week's podcast and show here on tncradio.live, here on the Southern Route. I appreciate you spending your time with me. This last session, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up, because I want you to be interested in some shows that I have scheduled. There are many more on the list. These are just a couple that I have coming up. So I'm going to be talking to a married couple. They are team drivers out there in the trucking industry. It is Lily Trucker and Mr. Lily Trucker. If you have not followed them on social media, you can find them, of course, on Facebook and Instagram, and they're really big on TikTok, and just a very fun, positive couple working together out there on the road, having some fun out there on the road, encouraging people, just some positive, clean, good fun out there. So if you haven't followed Lily Trucker, go follow them on social media. We're going to have them on soon. I'm going to be talking with a lady named Natasha from a farm. It's called 1818 Farms, and she's located here in Alabama, and she's going to be joining me to share about her journey on a farm. And I thought I'm excited to talk to her, because I have this thing for, those Hereford, I don't know how you say it, those cows, the long hair, fluffy cows. I just love those. And those mini cows, I think they are so stinking cute. I can't hardly stand it. And so she's going to come on. We're going to talk about the farm life and learn about 1818 Farms and what all they do. And I'm going to be talking with one of the ladies that I dance with. Her name is Melissa, and I'm going to be talking to her. And she just has an interesting story. And I'm not going to tell all the tidbits, but she is not connected to the trucking industry, but she knows how to use a CB and has for a lot of years. And she talks to truck drivers in her spare time in the evenings because she's not a great sleeper. She doesn't sleep very well. So somehow she got connected. I got to get the whole story. But she got connected talking to a truck driver one evening, and she helped him stay awake when he was trying to get to his delivery. And he started telling a friend that he was talking to her. So now she has this network of truck drivers that she talks to in the evenings. And I don't want to add to her list because that's a lot to keep up with, but she does have several. And so I just think it's so sweet and so special that somebody would give their time to other people just to make sure that they are safe. And she's so sweet, and I can't wait to share her with you all as well. And she dances with me on Thursdays also. And then we're going to be talking about a mac and cheese themed restaurant here close to me in Birmingham, Alabama. And oh my gosh, it sounds so good. So we're going to try to do a little field trip over to this mac and cheese themed restaurant, check it all out. Now, I love different kinds of macaroni and cheese. I love like a buffalo chicken macaroni and cheese. That kind of stuff's great to me. And they have all kinds of things like that. They have mac and cheese, grilled cheese sandwiches. So we're going to do a little trip over there too. So I'm going to be sharing some mac and cheese stuff with you all as well. I also just wanted to remind you all in this last segment about some of our other shows and podcasts. If you are not connected to TNC Radio, we would love for you to get connected. So I wanted to do a quick run through of what we have going on because there's something for everybody. Most of our listeners are truck drivers, but if you're interested in the trucking industry, there's a lot to learn out there and a lot to understand from these shows about the industry. And, goodness, the whole thing is we all depend on the trucking industry. The trucking industry is essential. And I think it's so awesome to learn more about that industry and, feel more connected to it and understand what these drivers face and day in and day out. And it's, who I talk to and work with every day at St. Christopher Fund, but it's an interesting industry and there's so much to know. And we have a lot of great shows that you can learn a lot from. So we've got a show called The Morning Grind. It's on from 8 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We have Kevin Rutherford who talks about trucking business from 10 to 11 a.m. We have Sports Map from 12 to 2 p.m. And then, of course, the Overnight Drive with Steve Summers for you late nighters out there. That would actually be me. From 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. He keeps those drivers that are out there on the road overnight. He keeps them awake and entertained. And so we're thankful for people that do that. So those are 4 of our shows. And then we also have some other shows that also turn into podcasts on Sundays. And so here's our lineup. So on Mondays, we have Building Strong Minds with Chris Cortman. That's at 6 p.m. Central. And also Truckers Life Radio with Ron Frazier. That's at 8 p.m. Central. So the Mondays, the guys are taking care of it. Truckers Life, Building Strong Minds. Everybody needs a strong mind. Everybody needs the right frame of mind. So that's a good night to listen in. Tuesdays, of course, it's me on the Southern Route at 6 p.m. And it's Ladies Night on Tuesday nights. I'm followed by Shelly Johnson and Kathy Takaro with the Women Road Warriors. They always have such interesting topics on their show. And that's at 7 p.m. Central. And then at 8 p.m. Central on Tuesdays, there's Thoughts and Coffee with Sarah Barnes. Great evening show as well. On Wednesdays, we've got Keep On Talking Live with Tom Kirk. Come on over to the Counter of Knowledge at 6 p.m. with Tom Kirk. Lots of good trucking industry related conversations there. You can learn a lot from that show. We also have on Wednesdays Tail Lights with the Bombs. They are a team driver. They're a couple of team drivers, and they share a lot of life from the road as well as other people in the industry. That's at 7 on Wednesday nights. And then we move into 8 o'clock Central. We move into Clutch Time Sports. That's our sports talk. Who doesn't like to talk sports, right? I mean, I'm all about SEC football. That's my sport. So that's what I like to talk about a lot. And then on Thursdays, we have Mind Your Trucking Business with James Rogers, Jamie Irvine, and of course, our own TNCRadio.live, Tom Kelly. Lots of information there about running your business, what it takes to be in business, what it takes to be an owner-operator in the industry, what it means to run a small fleet in the industry, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, and the ugly about that side of the industry. So a lot of great information there. Then they move to a show called Reverse Gear, and finally closing out Thursday with Remember When with Wesley Britton. Who doesn't like to remember and back and reminisce about the old days, right? It seems like everybody thinks, the newer, the better, the more forward thinking, the better, but that's not always the case. I mean, I just think of even, we used to, when I was growing up, we had paper bags at the grocery store. We would reuse those paper bags for so many things. We even covered our books with them and wrote on them, drew pictures on them. People would sign it. You put your name of your class on there, that kind of thing. And now we have all the plastic, and what do we do with all the plastic? And that just takes my brain on a tangent to what my husband and I were talking about this weekend with how many Ziploc bags there must be shoved into the world, into the ground across the world, especially here in our country. But anyway, so we have lots, that was a tangent. So we have lots of great shows. We would love for you to check them out. There's really something for everybody. And I know this team and everybody that's involved in all of these shows works really hard to provide good content, educational content, but also just fun content, something to get you through the day, something to make you laugh, share what's going on as far as weather and news for those of you that may not get to catch up on that very often. And so there really is something for everybody. And I appreciate everybody on this team and all that they do and the commitment that they have to make these shows the best that they can be. And we can't be the best that we can be without you all listening. So thank you again for being a part of the TNC Radio family, listening in, giving us a chance to share part of your day. And so I think that's all I have for this week. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have a guest that is able to free their schedule to spend some time with me, and we'll do some more laughing and sharing of stories and catching up next week. So y'all be safe out there. I think there's some weather coming in. Be aware of your surroundings. Also, be kind to somebody today. Say hello to somebody. Shake somebody's hand. If you're uncomfortable shaking a hand, give them a wave, share a smile. That doesn't cost you anything. And just say something kind to somebody. We always like for somebody to say something kind to us. So let's share that. The more kindness you share, the more that comes back. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Go Google the Southern Route podcast, find us on your favorite platform, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care, and we'll talk to you later.
Do you have the TNCRadio.live app? It's free and easy to download. Just go to app.tncradio.live, Google Play, or the App Store. Get access to live streaming radio developed by drivers for drivers. Download the TNCRadio.live app today.
Don't forget, you can hear all of our TNC Radio primetime shows again on our podcasts. Just go to tncradio.live/podcasts or search for tncradio.live wherever you listen to podcasts. Hey drivers, did you hear music on tncradio.live that you really liked? Or maybe you heard us interview an author of a book you'd like to read or listen to. You can get the books, music, and other products you hear about by going to our website at www.tncradio.live and clicking on the shopping cart.
Join Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time for Women Road Warriors on your driver navigation station, tncradio.live.